This top 10 fantasy football quarterbacks edition of the Sports Gambling Podcast is presented by MyBookie.ag. MyBookie is the official online sportsbook of the Sports Gambling Podcast. Use that promo code SGP50 and get a 50% deposit bonus. Play, win, and get paid. We're also brought to you by Amazon. Log on over to sportsgamblingpodcast.com and click the Amazon banner. Bookmark that link and use it every time you shop to score sweet savings and support the podcast. Oh, welcome everyone to the Sports Gambling Podcast. I'm Sean, stacking the money green with my partner in picks, Ryan, Real Money Kramer. Happy 4th of July, Kramer.
America.
Hell yeah.
Should we talk about America?
Sure. I'm a fan.
Saw something very.
I know
American.
you don't support the troops, Ryan, but I
do support the troops. Please,
okay.
This will get us nothing but negative reviews, Sean. Spending 4th of July as any good American would, wake up, watch the hot dog eating contest, then go to a baseball game. Right,
Ryan. Hopefully you played my lock, which over at sportsgamblingpodcast.com, I put out a blog post breaking down the odds for the hot dog eating contest, and I said my lock was under 73.5. Gave you out a free plus 110.
Nice
Great
work,
start
Sean.
to your 4th of July.
Anyway, and I'll have to, I took some pictures, but at the Dodgers game, Sean.
Oh yeah.
What is more American than baseball on the 4th of July? But more importantly, what is more American than a grown man bringing his glove to the game and snagging a fly ball away from a kid?
Oh wait, you saw that?
Oh. Black dude in a tank top.
Yeah.
Sitting in the lower section. We're in the first row of the loge, so we can see straight down to that lower area. And it might have even been a ball that a player threw. Like they finish the toss around or the inning ends, throws it into the crowd. And there's probably like 4 kids in the area. And this dude comes, he's got to be like 6'2", just reaches over. Nice catch, but it was clearly an adult baseball glove.
Yeah.
What are we doing? I get it. If you're there with kids, the kids bring the glove, right? You don't, as an adult, is it fair game to bring a glove to a baseball game?
I also went to a Dodgers game on July 3rd with our good pal Justin Decker.
San Diego Superchargers charge.
And Decker, he made a great point. He said
Decker's the kind of guy that would have brought a glove. Did he bring a glove?
No,
oh, okay.
he was anti-glove, and he made a good point. He goes, because if you're catching a foul ball with your bare hand, there's a chance you get on SportsCenter. If you're catching it with a glove, that's never going to make SportsCenter. Unless you're doing some sort of move where you're keeping it from a young child, and then they're going to put it on to shame you. So
I didn't even think about that. That's a very good point. I just think, Sean, I'm sure maybe I've never discussed this on the podcast, but years ago, we're sitting in the right field area, lower level. Andre Ethier is the right fielder of the Dodgers at the time. And he sends one, he catches the third out of an inning, sends it into the crowd. What do? Lean back, full extension, left-handed bare hand grab.
what the fuck?
If I had the glove, am I telling that story to you right now? No,
probably. But also, it's just a weird thing to bring to a game.
To me, this is the perfect time to play the shine box drop, because
now go home and get your fucking shine box.
This motherfucker went home and told his friends about this. And it wasn't like he caught a liner. He caught like a little flip from a player about maybe 30 yards. Anyway, very American of him to bring his glove to a game. That's what I was getting to, Sean.
Well, see, I think it's anti-American. I'm with you. Bear, raw dog it or nothing for foul balls.
That's right.
America, Ryan, it is America. And of course, the official sport of America, the National Football League. This fantasy football preview podcast, of course, presented by MyBookie.ag. MyBookie.ag, they're doing their own super contest. That's right. Each week, all you do is pick 5 games against the spread. First place, guaranteed $100,000, maybe more. $100 entry fee. That's it. $100. That's insane. Cool thing with MyBookie is their super contest. No juice. No juice. Every dollar entered is a dollar into the prize pool. And we'll be entering for sure. And if you want to enter, all you got to do, sign up over at mybookie.ag/super contest. Use that promo code SGP50. Get yourself a sweet 50% deposit bonus. Play, win, and get paid over at mybookie.ag. Get some, Ryan.
Let me tackle this for you. I think I know why you were choked up during that read. I'm sorry. Did we just say that my bookie will not be allowing OJ Simpson to participate in their super contest?
Wait, what?
What the fuck? No juice.
Oh, no juice. Took me a second there.
See what I did there?
I like it, Ryan.
Went over your head.
Right over my head. No juice. But yeah, that's pretty awesome. $100 entry. And man, it's the dog days of summer. That's why we're just doing these super early. Fantasy football. Getting into it. Already thinking about fantasy football. Ryan's already trying to get me into some FFPC best ball leagues.
Speaking of which, I have an opportunity here because I also in honor of America, I decided to kick off a couple. I like doing 2 at a time because then you can kind of you're in the same region of the draft in 2 drafts. You can kind of see what's going on in both drafts. And anyway, so I got 2 going on right now, and I was just
Menage a draft.
I was just showing you one of the drafts, and I was very much patting myself on the shoulder. And I'm about to go on the clock in the 6th round, but picked up your boy Philip Lindsay in the 5th round.
Oh, I love
to
that.
pair with James Conner and along with AJ Green, DeAndre Hopkins, and Stephon Diggs. But I am actually on the clock in my other league, Sean, and this is a purely experimental approach where I went David Johnson, Todd Gurley, Leonard Fournette, Philip Lindsay, 4 running backs, 4 picks. I'm sitting on the clock here with my 5th pick, and the dream scenario occurred. Robert Woods is sitting there waiting for me.
Wow.
We touched on it a little bit, I think, in the receivers podcast, but Robert Woods, interesting prospect this year, old regular. He's definitely going to get you points every week. So when you're going for it in other positions, I could go a little bit more best ball-y and look at another type of receiver here, but why not grab the points? So
I was thinking about this. I think while we're just spending July talking about football in July is the official motto over at the Sports Gambling Podcast. I think we should do either a full mock draft podcast episode or a fantasy football.
No one's going to listen to us do a mock draft, Sean. Well,
we should.
Just kidding. We're definitely doing this. I'm in.
So, right. Well, we'll have a guest on, and we'll each have our teams, and then just have the we'll announce it live. We'll have the computer pick the other.
Can I give a suggestion?
Sure.
Because I know that this is not a unique idea. Shockingly.
Okay.
The fantasy.
Thank you, Ryan.
The fantasy pros do this all the time, and they just use the mock draft engine. So me, you, and the guests will get in with our own teams. We can spread out the picks, and then we can talk about it. Just like you were saying. But I do think the way to do it is to pick, like do it as we're picking. I think that's the more and versus doing a recap.
Yeah.
Because we can talk through our decisions and we can take people into our minds because they'll have to make the same decisions in their draft, Sean.
If I'm a little slow today, I did kind of go a little hard last night for 4th of July.
You and me both, man.
Had a buddy Cornell had a pool party, and he's got this great view of the entire city of Los Angeles. So you can just see all the basically 20 different firework displays going off on the same time. And I happened to stumble upon some mushroom chocolate that someone gave me. No. And I was like, all right, I'll have a little.
This is very out of character of you, Sean.
Well, normally I save it for if I'm camping or something like that. But I was like, I'll have a little, but I can't do too much because I have this fantasy football top 10 QBs going. And I think, I went on a little journey, Ryan. And I started while I was enjoying the mushroom ride. I was thinking about my top 10. So
you were trying to figure out how Sudfeld gets into the top two Eagles quarterbacks get into the top 10.
No way Sudfeld's getting in because Sudfeld getting in implies that Carson Wentz is going to get injured. A thing that I don't believe will happen as much as you're going to try and curse them, Ryan. But maybe he does. Maybe he plays 13 games, blows out his ACL, and they win another fucking Super Bowl. I'm fine with that. I'm a team guy, Ryan. I'm a team first fantasy owner and a team first fan. All right, enough fucking around. Number 10 quarterback. Ryan,
No, you go first this time.
This guy, my best John Gruden.
Long Cox.
Now, again, to preface this list, I took some positions. You could just go to like Ryan's butt buddies over at fantasybros.com or whoever and just get your generic top 10.
Roto World, another good
Roto
source.
World. You can go to Square Central. I'm making a couple positions. There's a couple guys in my top 10 that I'm sure aren't on Square Joe Q Public's top 10. I'm taking some shots.
Okay.
My number, there's some chalk in there, but there's 2 or 3 guys here that are either going to be higher or not on some top 10 lists. This first guy, he's probably in your top 10, Ryan.
Okay.
Coming in at number 10 for the Houston Texans, Deshaun Watson.
Wow. Why so low?
Again, I'm taking a position. I normally don't like to predict injuries because it is the National Football League and anything truly can happen. You can have Tom Brady blow out his ACL game 1, fingers crossed.
It's a baby fucking wheel, man.
But really anything can happen. But for me, what's scary is that lung injury he had, that lung injury that would not allow him to fly on the team plane. He had to take a bus. His lung was so jacked up, and it's a style of play. It's not that he's always running outside the pocket and getting hit. It's that he holds on to the ball way too long. And this Houston Texans offensive line has really struggled at times to protect him. Those are the reasons why I only have him at 10.
All accurate.
I love his upside, and he's a guy maybe you take a shot at in a best ball league because I think he's a huge upside. I think he will have those 3 touchdown, 4 touchdown games. But I think if you're looking for a season long QB, number 10 feels right for Deshaun Watson.
And honestly, this format is the strangest to do, I think, for the quarterbacks, because for me, you can almost look at it like you have a tier of top guys and then you have a couple stragglers and then there's everyone else.
Yeah.
I mean, when we're talking about a position,
I'm not taking a quarterback in the first round. I'm not taking a quarterback in probably the top 3 rounds, right?
I would say this: if you're not targeting one of those top guys, Steve, for me, I think Deshaun Watson is a fringe top guy, but objectively, if you're not taking Luck, Rodgers, or Mahomes, why are you reaching? Why are you going after a guy? Because a guy like Jimmy Garoppolo, you can get. I don't know. He's probably in the 20s ranked quarterback. And Phillip Rivers is probably between 15 and 20. Ben Roethlisberger's outside of my top 10.
There's no shame in streaming quarterbacks. There's no shame at all.
That's my point. So for a top 10 format, what I did here is I just wanted to make sure I dropped in a guy who I while he may not deserve to be top 10, I think the difference between 8 and 20 is not very much. A lot of people were very high in Kirk Cousins, another guy there, but Jameis Winston's the guy I'm going to put here. And the reasons why is strictly Bruce Arians and that that want to throw the ball down.
Jameis Winston, I keep calling him Jameson. Jameis Winston has a little bit of boat trip in him.
But again, you have to remember, this isn't about on-field leadership, production, winning. This is about putting up numbers.
Yeah.
And we've touched on the weapons. We've touched on the question mark in the running
Bruce Arians.
And we know what Bruce Arians
seems to be kind of handing over the play calling to Byron Leftwich, which is pretty interesting because he always seemed like a guy who liked calling his own plays. So he must like what he's seen out of Leftwich to kind of hand over that stuff to Jameis Winston. Jameis Winston and Byron Leftwich. Bruce Arians, a guy who lived by the motto, no risk it, no biscuit. And I don't know how to say this in the best possible fashion, but Bruce Arians seems like a guy who maybe can talk to Jameis Winston, like a guy who can get his attention. Dirk Cotter, kind of a square guy, maybe a guy who can't speak the same language. Bruce Arians seems like a guy who can talk to a player like Jameis Winston.
Absolutely. And back to your point of when are we selecting these guys? Again, if you're not targeting someone you feel is elite, I don't see why risk it when I could just wait and grab Mitch Trubisky, Phillip Rivers. Again, Trubisky's a guy, I don't love Trubisky, but the guy runs for 60 yards a game.
He had a couple of He had a couple of monster fantasy games.
Nick Foles is ranked 28th by the fantasy pros. He's ranked like 30th by Roto. I just think that this is a strange
Long. Cox.
That was for
quarterback.
Nick Foles.
Quarterback is one of those positions where you just have to have an opinion, or you should just wait. And to me, yeah. So again, this format is interesting, but Jameis Winston will be my number 10 guy. Sean, where are you going?
Number 9.
San Diego Superchargers charge.
Phillip Rivers. To me, and again, what's fun about these lists is I'm taking position. I'm buying stock. You always talk in these best ball leagues. I have a lot of stock in
shares,
X, Y, or Z. You know, like our boy Christian Pina says, it's all about investing. I'm investing in this Chargers team. I'm investing in this Chargers offense. In particular, I'm really high on this Hunter Henry connection. I'm really high on Phillip Rivers getting some red zone touchdowns. I think because of Melvin Gordon's injury history, I think they may. I don't know if they're going to pound the ball in the red zone as much. I think Hunter Henry has a nice little jump in touchdowns. And what I like about Phillip Rivers is 32-12 last year, but he did it at a nice yards per attempt at 8.5.
Yep.
I think he's still got a couple solid productive years left, and I really like their defense. I love what they're doing on the defensive line. I could see some turnovers. You know, when you get those Melvin Ingram, Joey Bosa, and Tillery on that defensive line, that's going to get you some sacks. That's going to get you some turnovers. That's going to get you some good fucking field position, making the Chargers' job that much easier. Quick sidebar: our boy Justin Decker.
I will say this: I have left all of the 2004 quarterback class off my list.
I'm a little higher on it than you.
I like Rivers, and I will be happy to end up with Rivers. But for the purpose of this argument, I feel like it would be reckless to put him up there just because
I'm reckless.
I like how you're reckless. I just think there's younger guys you can put on this list, and
I got a couple old salty dogs in my top 10. Decker, to the Chargers game, he wore a San Diego Fleet T-shirt.
Saw the tweet, love
and
it.
a Chargers hat, and we were walking around, and some guy yelled at him, goes, "Go Rams!"
Yeah.
There, of course, was no one else wearing any sort of Chargers memorabilia, and we're sitting in the club level seats, nice seats, great experience. Get the waiter service, the whole nine.
Wow, look at you, Sean.
Balling out a little bit, and we were talking about USC, UCLA. And really making fun of USC. And there's a guy in front of us. This old dude turned around and he goes, "You know, USC is a private college and UCLA is a public college." And we were like, yeah, that's why we're making fun of USC. And apparently he was a USC alumni and got real mad because Decker immediately followed it up with, he goes, "Hey, in alumni news, your boy OJ Simpson just got on Twitter. That's got to be pretty awesome." Our greatest alumni is Jackie fucking Robinson. The guy got real upset and left early. He left early. The game was a 5-4 walk off in the 10th with Bellinger, 2 home run game.
Yeah,
and I would say 20% of the crowd was left.
He went yard on the 4th as well. They showed the replay, and it was just
dude's just fucking balling out.
Real quick to the point of people leaving early. So the Dodgers do a fireworks thing on July 4th and every Friday, really, but July 4th, it's this big celebration for America. People fucking left early. Like, you're paying extra money.
Where are you going?
It's a sellout crowd. It took forever for you to get in the building because the Dodger Stadium is not the best setup for getting a lot of people in the building quickly.
Again, another reason why you got to go club level.
Yeah, I agree.
Such easy entrance.
I will say though, Sean, sitting front row on the Loge was pretty fun. It was pretty fun to be right up on that action. But people were leaving early. Like, fuck you. Fuck you. My number 9.
Give it to me.
Well, you want to talk about positions. I'm going to take a position here, and I'm going to put Kyler Murray at number 9. Fantasy points here.
I keep going back and forth on Kyler Murray. I love his yards, but I'm kind of scared of the touchdowns. But you're right. These rookie quarterbacks sometimes will just go crazy running the ball.
Here's the caveat. It is July 5th. It is very early in the process. I'm probably still not going to, again, I think quarterbacks probably 8 through 20 don't have much difference to me. So that's going to, you know, when I approach my drafting, Sean, it's all about that tiering. I don't want to take the first guy in a tier, but I'm really bought in on the idea that no matter how good or bad this team will be, they're going to run a lot more plays than they have. And Kyler Murray is going to run the ball. We've seen Josh Allen, Mitch Trubisky, and Blake Bortles, other relatively worthless quarterbacks, be relevant because they can run the ball. And if Kyler Murray is going to flirt with Michael Vick's 1,000-yard rushing season, he will absolutely be fantasy relevant because that is a lot of points. That is 100 points on the ground right there.
Yeah.
So if you spread that over a 16 game season, that's a 6-point edge.
And Arizona's defense is just going to be so bad.
Bad defense, more plays because they're going to run a faster offense and a quarterback that's going to probably scramble a little bit.
I guess the counter argument there is a lot of 3 and outs. I think too is a possibility, and
Maybe.
those quick 3 and outs.
But
again,
really, if running the ball can make Mitchell Trubisky relevant, someone who absolutely does not have an arm, I think you have to consider Kyler Murray. So I threw him in the 9 spot. I thought it'd be fun.
I hear you. My number 8, the Iceman himself, Matty Ryan.
I'm torn on him, Sean.
Yeah. Again, this is just, I feel like I just have to put him in because just the dome games alone, first 11 games of his season are in a dome. He had a nice jump in yards per attempt from the previous season, up 1.2 yards per attempt. To me, the biggest reason why I would hop back on the Matt Ryan fantasy train, I'm kind of off on him overall as a player, but no Steve Sarkisian has to be worth something. Yep. He is gone.
Who's the new offensive coordinator?
Dirk Cotter, our boy Dirk Cotter. And Dirk Cotter, he has coordinator, not head coach written all over him. He seemed like a decently smart guy, but even in Hard Knocks, you could tell this guy's not a head coach.
I'm actually kind of bullish on I'm getting more and more bullish on the Falcons for that reason. I think their offense can get back to being like their offense, even in spite of Sarkisian, has been pretty good.
Yeah.
So if you get a guy in there that's not going to be out at the bars, chilling on the down low there in Atlanta.
That guy has a disease. That was so awesome when he got fired from USC and he sued USC. I have a medical condition. I have a disease.
Fuck you.
I got a disease. I'm ill. I'm ill right now. I'm playing through the pain because I do it for the listeners, Ryan.
It's funny.
Who's your 8?
Well, my 8 also Matt Ryan. I was torn on him, but I felt it would be reckless to leave him out just because of the potential. Because he is playing in a dome, he is going to have 9 dome games. I think is the number. That's hard to ignore. It's hard to ignore the chance for that offense to be explosive with Ridley and Julio Jones, Devontae Freeman still there. A lot of reasons to like Matt Ryan. Hard to put him outside my top 10. That being said, I'm not like banging down the draft door to take Matt Ryan, but he probably, if I'm being honest, like he's probably sitting there. He's probably in the range of guys who I might grab, especially in an FFPC format where a lot of quarterbacks are drafted, because he gets you a high floor. Like to me, he's the very unsexy, pretty high floor guy. I don't know if his ceiling's tremendously high though. So
ADP round 6, pick 8.
Cool. I'm not taking that's probably when I think about it, but why not wait till round 10? Again, we're talking about more traditional drafts here where you're not drafting 2 quarterbacks in drafts like that, where, you know, a couple asshole friends of yours will take a backup quarterback to take up one of your 5 bench spots. But really you're talking about there's 12 quarterbacks. And this is back to my point. If you don't get one of those top 3 or 4, or whoever you think are that top tier, why bother? Just stream. Yeah. Just stream matchups. Matt Ryan's on that fringe for me because of the dome factor, though. I think come the end of the year, it's not the worst thing to have a quarterback that's going to be playing inside.
Number 7 for me, Danger Russ. Russ Wilson. I just kind of see a little movement from the Seahawks team offensively. Nice jump in yards per attempt, one of my favorite QB stats. He was up 0.8 from the previous season. 35-7, career high passing touchdowns, and Russie Will. It just seems
that's the best nickname ever, by the way. Russie Will.
He's just kind of in put the team on his back mode. again, I think I kind of like some of the chemistry he developed with some of those other receivers, the tight ends. They don't have a clear cut guy that's going to eat up goal line carries, which is something I factor in for these quarterbacks. It seems like they're going to try to get the tight ends involved a little bit more in the red zone. So,
Sean,
those reasons and more.
I'm going to blow your mind. Not in my top 10.
I mean,
Oh my God.
You want to know why?
it's a little square play, but he's still
You want to know why?
sure.
Rushing yards.
He still puts up decent rushing yards, right?
He only had like 350 last year. That's the difference.
355, which is actually a career high for him.
I just think the way he's getting banged up, he's getting older. They now have they continue to have a stable of running backs. Hey, Sean, who's their offensive coordinator?
Pete Carroll.
Schottenheimer. What does he want to do? Run the ball.
Yeah, but this is the modern shot.
I love Russell Wilson. Again, real football. I want Russell Wilson on my team.
He's a guy who just wins games.
I don't know if I'm stretching to draft him because I'm guessing his ADP is ahead of Matt Ryan's, where you said the 6th round there, and I just don't know if I could take him there.
Yeah, I got Wilson ahead of Ryan, but again, splitting hairs here, but that's the fun of the podcast. Kramer, who's your 7?
Who's my 7? My 7. I'm sticking in that dome. I'm sticking in the NFC South. I'm taking Drew Brees.
Okay, 7.
Again,
I guess that's not that low.
It's not that low. Again, to me, there's like a tier 1, and then maybe you can flirt with tier 2 being the Matt Ryan, the Drew Brees, where I like the fact that they're going to be in a high octane offense. I like the fact that they're going to play inside, and I like the fact that they've done it before. So I also just like the way that, Drew Brees is going to give you a ceiling. He's also going to give you a floor. So that's when I flipped the coin to determine who do I like more, Drew Brees or Matt Ryan. That's how Drew Brees ended up ahead of Matt Ryan.
Number 6 for me is Drew Brees.
Oh, okay.
Drew Brees, in a weird way, it almost felt like a down year last year for Drew Brees. Meanwhile, the guy had 32 touchdowns, only 5 interceptions, 4,000 yards passing. I think an interesting stat. Normally, I don't take a ton of credence with this stat, especially because the way the league's going overall. But I think it's fantasy relevant, especially for Drew Brees. Highest completion percentage all time for Drew Brees, 74.4%. That's a guy who's just going to keep drives alive. And with the emergence of Kamara, I think it's an easy way to get completions for him. It's an easy way to get first downs, more passing yards, and it's just an easy way for him to rack up some fantasy points.
Yeah.
So I think the emergence of Kamara, which I think could have even a bigger year in a weird way. I think he's a guy I would actually kind of love to have, because I think depending on your league, I think you could get him pretty late. A guy like Drew Brees, because people have had Drew Brees before and kind of like, I just don't think he's as sexy as he was in previous years as a pick. And I think people might look past him.
Yeah.
At least the public. Kramer, who's your 6?
Well, this is where I think maybe I fall off the rails a little bit.
Okay.
And you're 100% going to disagree with me, I think, but it's Cam Newton.
Yeah.
Again, you're going to see. Yeah, I think Cam. Here's my stance on this list. Cam maybe he's going to be healthy this year.
Based on what?
Based on the fact that he's a year removed from all the bullshit he was dealing with. He's actually got a shoulder that's back together.
I don't know. I don't know that.
He's going to produce here's I'm going to shed some more light on this kind of loose tier 2A for me, and that's all the quarterbacks so far in the NFC South. Sprinkle in Kyler Murray. So I think Winston, Ryan, Brees, and Newton are all in that same bucket for me. I'll throw in Kyler. I just don't know if any of these guys are guys I'm willing to reach for. Again, my quarterback strategy is going to be take one of my top 3 guys or wait. So Cam Newton, I just think it's reckless to not. His upside is so high with the rushing yards. I think there's this for the same reason that dum-dums like Trubisky are relevant. Dak Prescott are relevant. Lamar Jackson is relevant, is all about the rushing yards. sprinkle in the fact that he's going to get a whole bunch of juice from all those catches that Mr. McCaffrey are going to get.
That's true, but he's coming out at a career low rushing yards, 213. It seems
he
like
was hurt last year, dude. Like that's the thing. He was injured all year. I think we got to forget. I think too much, but Cam Newton, number 6.
I'm not sold on that shoulder yet. I'm just not. My number 5. It's crazy. I know you're gonna disagree, Ryan, but I'm buying stock in the Pittsburgh offense.
Oh wow!
Give me Ben Roethlisberger at number 5. Probably pretty shocking. I think Roethlisberger. He just seems to me like he's got that one last good year. I like Juju to be the number 1 rated fantasy receiver, and I like Roethlisberger to have a big season throwing the ball. I still haven't landed on how I think they're going to be as a team because I have a lot of questions on the defensive side of the ball, but it's coming off a 34 touchdown season right there in 5,000 yards. They've just kind of, and that's a big jump from the previous season. This team is seemingly just built around Big Ben. He's still getting the starts. He's banged up, but he still plays through it and still puts up good numbers. I don't think they're going to miss Antonio Brown production wise. I think they're going to be able to find people that make up his production.
Okay.
And Pittsburgh just seems to always figure out, they always have receivers that kind of come out of nowhere. And I think that's kind of, blanking on the coach's name. I think that's Tomlin's best skill is being able to put together these highly productive offenses regardless of talent.
I definitely think I'm going to end up with Big Ben on a number of teams just because where he's actually getting drafted.
Yeah. And to clarify, I wouldn't actually draft him 5th quarterback overall because I think that would be way too high to draft him. But in my mind, he could be a top 5 fantasy QB pretty easily.
Yeah. And that's, good transition to my top 5 guy. Cause while I did debate putting your boy Carson Wentz in here, he didn't make my top 10.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
We're pretty different on his position.
I think, I think he'll be fine when he's playing. I think there's the concern about the injury. And I think there's a concern about the fact that when he was having that quote unquote MVP campaign, he was hitting on a pretty high touchdown rate. Baker Mayfield's my guy.
Baker Mayfield did not make my top 10.
Oh, see, I think I probably should have put him lower because I don't think this I'm probably not going to reach for him in the 5th round or whatever his 80. If you can look up his ADP while we're talking here, Sean, I don't think I'll be looking to grab him, but there's certainly an opportunity here. And here's why. I think there's an opportunity for the Browns to be a explosive team. I just don't know how
his ADP is 70.
So we're talking end of the 5th round.
Yeah.
So I probably have him ranked fairly accurate according to ADP then. But again, this is when, so if you're looking at my personal rankings, it goes, once you get to Baker Mayfield, I think the difference between Baker Mayfield and someone like Phillip Rivers, who's like 14 on my list, is almost nothing. So what does that tell me? I'm probably not going to end up with too much Baker Mayfield, but I do think just based on the ceiling, Sean, I think his ceiling could be huge, right? There's a chance that Odell is the best receiver in the league, and they have and Freddie Kitchen is the second coming of Sean McVay, and they have this extremely explosive offense with a aggressive defense. They're getting the ball a lot and scoring opportunities. Baker Mayfield is the guy who could shockingly have like 40 touchdowns. That's what I'll say. But
yeah, it's weird. I guess I'm splitting hairs because I had Odell in my top 5 receivers.
I did not. I downgraded him, if you remember.
Yeah. But I don't have Baker Mayfield in my top 10 quarterbacks. I guess and maybe I'm being too contrarian. Just the Cleveland hype machine is just a little bit scary. The public bandwagon just hopping on board.
Yep.
Everyone, hey, this is it. This is our year. It's a little scary.
It just strikes me as the kind of team where Baker Mayfield could have 3 touchdowns and 3 interceptions every week. You know what I mean? Like they're going to be slinging the rock around.
Maybe he is one of those guys that's worth it for a best ball league because he could have some seriously huge games.
I'm going to keep reiterating the same thing, but don't get crazy.
Yeah.
Don't get crazy with the quarterback. There are so many quarterbacks that will be productive. Again, Kirk Cousins, not my favorite. A lot of people are pretty high on him, and he's ranked somewhere in the 20s. So Tom Brady too. Who's your number 4, Sean?
My number 4, Aaron Rodgers.
Okay, Sean.
What?
I'm giving you demerits.
Why?
You're putting Carson Wentz ahead of Aaron Rodgers.
Of course.
Oh God.
Aaron Rodgers. It's gonna be a FU mode season. I feel.
Yeah.
There's still a lot to shake out with this whole LaFleur thing. I think we'll have a
His
better
name's
sense.
LaFleur.
Yeah. I think we'll have a better sense once training camp happens as to where they're really gonna kind of come. The whole power struggle. If LaFleur concedes, I love Aaron Rodgers even more. If he's really being a hard ass about it and trying to install this QB dummy system that's below what Aaron Rodgers brings to the table, that's a red flag. And maybe I slide Rodgers down. That 25 touchdown to 2 interception ratio.
That's pretty good.
Those are Nick Foles numbers. When he had that crazy run when he went 27-2 with Chip Kelly.
Wow.
Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams. It just seems like a really good combo.
I'm going to give you some more.
Again, him and some of these veteran QBs. Maybe I'm ignoring the young guys too much to my own detriment. But yeah, give me Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, I think you're. I think
he's a T1 actually.
Yeah, I do too, and I think this is where the edge of my tier 1 starts, and that just is Deshaun Watson, and that's because of that ceiling. It's because of the fact that team just wants to sling the rock. They have DeAndre Hopkins, they have Will Fuller.
Wow,
he's gonna run the rock. He played through whatever broken lung or whatever punctured lung, and while I wasn't high on him last year when people were saying he's the number 1 quarterback over Aaron Rodgers, I certainly think he deserves, and again, this is where my quote tier 1 starts. If I'm going to reach on a quarterback, it's going to be one of these guys. Sean, pull up the ADP, but Deshaun Watson to me, that ceiling is the ceiling is he could be the number 1 quarterback. And I think we haven't discussed the guy on my list, at least, who I think could be the number 1 quarterback yet, even in a perfect scenario. It starts with Deshaun Watson. He's got it all. And
his ADP is 51. That feels a little low. But again, maybe people are kind of scared off with the injury potential.
So that's front end of the 5th round.
Yeah.
Right. That feels about where I would be looking to take a Deshaun Watson. If I've gotten a couple stud running backs, a couple stud wide receivers, and I wanted to make sure I got one of my top 4 quarterbacks, I may snag Watson here. So Watson's my number 4 guy. Number 3, Sean.
Number 3.
Carson Wentz is here, right?
Nope.
Oh my God.
Number 3.
This is fantasy football, not real football, Sean, right?
Agreed. And listen, you could,
I'm listening.
I'm trying to pull up Andrew Luck's game log from 2018 because Andrew Luck is my number 3 quarterback. What's not to like about Andrew Luck? Andrew Luck, 39 touchdowns, 15 interceptions, that Frank Reich system. And they're in a dome. They're in a dome for a number of games. Most importantly, they started out horrible. Like Andrew Luck was really bad and the team looked really rough. They were 1-5 to start. So he put up this 39 touchdowns, 15 interceptions, and that's with a rough start. What's not to like about this Colts team? Like they seem to be building the team the right way, getting good offensive linemen to build around Luck. He's had plenty of time. T.Y. Hilton, maybe he's not as injured. He was kind of a little banged up, but they seem to be spreading the ball around. And they're a dome offense with Frank Reich, who really seems to bring some innovative play calling that's really helped the Colts offense. What's not to like about Andrew Luck right here?
I like him as well. I like him a little bit more than you, Sean.
Oh wow!
You want the hot take? Cue it up. Here's the hot take music.
Oh, hot.
Although he is in my top tier,
yes.
My number 3 guy, Patrick Mahomes.
What?
Oh my God!
How many of his points were just him slinging the ball as hard as he can to Tyreek Hill? What does it mean for Tyreek Hill to miss time? What does it mean to this team? And what does it mean now that Patrick Mahomes has the target on his head?
Yep.
Coming off an MVP season, there's a lot of reasons to like Patrick Mahomes, but I again, when is he going? He's getting drafted silly early.
People, I mean, speaking of the juice, he made a case for drafting Patrick Mahomes #1 overall.
Why?
And I've heard people, well, because he's a maniac, but I've heard people make that case that Patrick Mahomes is a quarterback worth drafting #1 overall.
No. Well, and maybe that's what I've done to myself here. I'm looking at, what are we looking at? ADP 35 ish. So end of the third round. I think I've done this so I don't end up with Patrick Mahomes anywhere. Maybe I'm mad I didn't buy the stock last year. How often do we see, and maybe I'm arguing against my own Baker Mayfield comments, but how often do we see guys blow it the fuck up and then maybe take a slight step back? Maybe the touchdown rate drops a little bit, like Aaron Rodgers, right?
Very common.
And we'll get to Aaron Rodgers in a second, but that's essentially, I think his touchdown rate will positively regress. I think you could definitely see Mahomes come back. Look, he's in a great situation. Andy Reid offense, the quarterback friendly. And he's in my tier 1 again for a reason. I think this is he's one of the 4 guys you want to absolutely try to grab or wait. So Patrick Mahomes is going to be my third guy. That's the hot take of this show, Sean.
Well, wait, I think I might have a hotter take, but yeah, #2 for me, Patrick Mahomes.
Sean,
he had an amazing year last year. 50 touchdowns, 5,000 yards.
It's pretty impressive.
How do you not regress?
Well,
how do you he's going to go back, and I'm still high on the Chiefs, but I could see it just seems like everything went right for them last year, and now they're gonna have some issues. I still like a Damian Williams in fantasy, but I don't know if I like Patrick Mahomes as much.
Well, again,
#2 is still pretty high.
If he regresses a bit down, and that's 40 touchdowns instead of 50 touchdowns, does he end up being #1? Maybe he still does. Maybe he doesn't. I'm going to dock him because I think I like my top 2 guys better. And my #2 guy, Sean, is not Carson Wentz. It's Aaron Rodgers.
What? Aaron Rodgers?
Again, his touchdown rate will absolutely regress up. He has legit targets that aren't being suspended.
Oh my God.
Aaron Rodgers is Aaron Rodgers. He had a slight down year last year. I will happily take Aaron Rodgers, and he's in FU mode. Supreme Aaron Rodgers FU mode. I mean, do you think he wanted to get embarrassed chugging a beer like that? I'm not even talking about the down year last year or the Mike McCarthy thing. I'm talking about this chug gate, we'll call it.
Chug gate.
He is coming out hot, and Aaron Rodgers is going to be my #2 guy, Sean. Happily, I'll take him wherever. What's his ADP?
It's a great question. He's probably like super low ADP, right?
No, he'll be fine. I mean, I think he's by most people's rankings probably in that 55.
Okay.
5th round. See, this is where I'm getting to, right? Like, do I want Mahomes in the 3rd or Rodgers in the 5th?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Cause it's not apples to apples. I get it. Mahomes will put up a shitload of points, but it's all about that value over replacement, Sean. And during those 2 rounds, those 2 rounds you can add to the more scarce positions of receiver and running back. So Aaron Rodgers, my #2.
Ryan, before I reveal my #1 fantasy football quarterback, why don't we give a shout out to Amazon, official partner here for the Sports Gambling Podcast. All you got to do, go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com. You got a little Amazon logo there. You click on that Amazon logo. Oh, okay. This is easy. All you do is just do a little bookmark there. And then anytime you're buying stuff on Amazon, use that link. You're buying stuff on Amazon and supporting the Sports Gambling Podcast. They have a ton of sick stuff on there. I mean, if you're looking for they actually have a surprising amount of sports merch, like kind of random, interesting stuff. Jerseys, t-shirts, autographed memorabilia, books. Do you like those Funko Pop dolls, Ryan?
Oh, those are fun.
Ooh, Carson Wentz mini fathead graphic, 7 inches, perfect size. For like a little desk like this. Ooh, some dog jerseys. They got it all. All you got to do is sportsgamblingpodcast.com, click that Amazon banner, get some sweet savings and support the podcast today.
You know what I bet you can't find, Sean?
What?
Can't find anyone on Amazon selling you Carson Wentz as the number one fantasy quarterback.
That's why you come to the Sports Gambling Podcast for your hot takes. Some may call me a homer for this ride, but at number one, the double number one, number 11, number one in your hearts, Carson fucking Wentz. What's not to like about this new look offense? Deshaun Jackson, deep threat on the outside, the speed to open it up for Dallas Goedert and fucking Zach Ertz. Our boy Warren Sharp said, Ryan, he said one thing NFL teams should be doing more, running 12 personnel. The Eagles are going to be doing it all day and twice on Sunday. Look for a number of red zone touchdowns to go to the tight ends, both Zach Ertz and Dallas Goedert. Alshon Jeffrey, great red zone target. They don't have LeGarrette Blount stealing those, vulturing those red zone passing touchdowns. Yeah, maybe Jordan Howard will get some red zone looks, but it's going to be all CW. The Jesus Ginger, Carson Wentz. He's going to have 35 plus touchdowns. I'm predicting this guy. You want to talk about FU mode? Oh, so many haters. So many people saying Carson Wentz, he can't do it. He's banged up. They paid him that much without winning a playoff game. Oh my God, why would they do that? The guy can't finish a season. He's about to finish a season as the number one fantasy football quarterback, Ryan. And I'll save the rest of my predictions for Carson Wentz, but it's going to be a good season for old CW.
For the sake of the brand, I bit my tongue during that whole rant because I wanted to have some nice, clean audio, but you're out of your mind, dude. I think Carson Wentz could return to MVP form, take the Eagles on a 12-4 campaign, and he not even sniff the top 5 fantasy football quarterback. So you're insane.
Okay.
But that's what people tune in to hear. You're fucking insanity.
It's a hot take, Ryan.
No, it's not a hot take. It's
Why is it not a hot take?
Oh, hot, 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 hot. Hot, 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 hot.
It's a take that needs to go on a short bus, Sean. That's
what am I going to do? Put him 7? Oh,
Yeah.
Hey, this is a reasonable Carson Wentz prediction. And well, actually, you could make a case for Dakota Prescott here at number 7 because actually his who fucking wants to hear that bullshit?
The lead singer of Train, maybe. I don't know. Also a huge fan of Dakota Prescott.
Well, you probably have Dakota as your number one quarterback, right?
No, I do not. My number one quarterback.
How do you not have Carson Wentz in your top 10? That's a crazier take, I would argue.
Because he's going to miss some games with that back injury flaring up.
It's not a flare-up injury.
It is.
No, it's not.
It's a back injury, Sean. Stop
His
trying to be a
back
doctor.
healed.
Stop arguing about it. Okay. Let's
His
see.
back is fixed.
Let's see it. Everyone else who got hurt last year, it's a concern this year, except for Carson Wentz. Are we confirming that take? Yes.
Depends on the injury.
You've brought up a lot of. Anyway, I congratulate you on the fortitude to put Carson Wentz as your number one quarterback. This will be great for the Reddit and all the other trolls on the internet. My number one quarterback, Sean. Hot take. You already called him out, Andrew Luck.
Oh wow. Okay.
Oh, hot, 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 hot. Hot, 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 hot.
When has Andrew Luck had this kind of supporting cast, this kind of offensive line?
And
he's in a dome.
And maybe there's some regression because some of those Ebron games are kind of a little bonkers, but I don't know, man. I'm super high on Luck too. Obviously, I'm a Andrew Luck stan, if you will, as the kids say. But this offense in a dome with this offensive line that finally is giving him the kind of time he needs, what's not to like?
Yeah, and again, I think when I'm putting my first tier together, I'm basically saying which quarterbacks can throw for which quarterbacks can flirt with 5,000 yards and which quarterbacks can surpass 40 touchdowns. And I think it's that list of Luck, Rodgers, Mahomes, and Watson. So I absolutely think Luck could do what Patrick Mahomes did last year. That would be the hot take. He could throw for 5,050 touchdowns. Now it's a stretch, but again, my top tier quarterbacks, but all about guys who could be number one.
Don't they want some hot takes, some kind of outside the box thinking. You could look
me
at
making a private school quarterback number 1 on my list. That's a hot fucking take. Caveman Andrew Luck, your BFF, not mine.
I like Andrew Luck. Good dude. Throws a rock. Finally got his arm fixed. Who are some off the board sleepers, Kramer, that we haven't hit on?
Well, again, I think coming back to my list.
Yeah.
And this is more of a strategy conversation, but after those top 4, I'm probably, this is why the format's weird. I'm strangely probably not going to be looking to any of the rest of the guys in my top 10 because I can just get guys outside the top 10 around the same time or even wait longer. You threw out Ben Roethlisberger. I like Ben Roethlisberger. I didn't put him in my top 10. I think he has potential. Phillip Rivers, discussed him, right? He seems to always put up numbers and he's always disrespected. In 12-team leagues, you could probably get him at the end of your draft because, listen, there's not going to be a Chargers fan in your draft, so don't worry about that. He's going outside the top 12. If I'm desperate, Sean, Jimmy G is an interesting one.
Yeah.
We know Shanahan can make a productive core.
Yeah,
I know he didn't do great last year. You kind of called out some reasons why Stafford might be a question mark this year.
Yeah,
but
I'm staying away from him.
Even all the way down to like, could be worse than starting Ryan Fitzpatrick the first couple of weeks. Again,
well, and that's interesting too. Does Fitzpatrick start or do they just give it to Rosen right away? I think they still let Fitzpatrick start, and then when we're talking NFL Week 1 DFS,
yeah.
I think the move with the Dolphins is they'll start Fitzpatrick because you gotta save the guy who's going to give you some hope till later, right?
You can't bench the young guy. It's the move where Fitzpatrick has been benched many times. Yeah, it's okay to start with him, and
he doesn't mind it. Well, and I think all 3 Florida teams started out 2-0 or 3-0 with these new rules about the conditioning. These Florida teams in the heat have a head start. So if you look at the Miami Dolphins, Week 1 home, September 8th, it's going to be hot as shit against the Baltimore Ravens at home.
And again,
got Fitzmagic. He's going to be a quarterback in DFS that you can probably get for 5,000. He's going to be like the bottom of the barrel.
Tom Brady's ADP is undrafted in a standard 12 team league.
That's kind of insane.
Mitch Trubisky, another running quarterback. Josh Allen, who we touched on John Brown in the receivers one. Josh Allen could take a step forward. Again, runs the ball, makes him intriguing. Lamar Jackson, high floor, streaming option. Sean, but I'm going to, if you want to talk about Week 1 DFS, you want to have some fucking onions, you start Joe Flacco. At home, taking on the Cardinals.
Yeah. Wait, no. The
did I
Lions
fuck up the schedule?
Playing the Cardinals, right?
Oh no, I'm sorry. That's preseason. They're on the road versus the Raiders. Here's what I would say about Joe Flacco. You can start him in that first week if you want to have some onions. But as far as guys, I'm looking to draft. I think it's you're either taking one of these top 4 guys or you're just gonna wait. Grab whoever you like. A lot of people like Jared Goff. Again, regular season. I'm not one to want to grab Goff at this point. I think the offense will be productive. I don't know if I want to grab him.
But he's one of those guys, and I've done this in leagues where it's like a 12-team league. You're the last person to draft a quarterback. You could do worse than Jared Goff if you're the last guy drafting a quarterback in a 12-team league.
Again, I think quarterback's a weird spot where in a 12-team league, I'll probably be if I don't get Andrew Luck or Rodgers, I'll probably be the guy taking the last quarterback. Yeah. And it's probably going to be someone like Big Ben. Kyler Murray too. Like if Kyler Murray is the last quarterback drafted, why not? You can pretty quickly, if it's a dumpster fire, you just cut bait and start streaming.
Yeah. And Dwayne Haskins is a guy that probably just goes undrafted, but
who knows with that situation?
Well, again, as far as you're getting a guy that's going to start every game,
he's doughy.
He is, and you're not getting the rushing yards. Lamar Jackson was the other one. I feel like we've kind of hit on, but
isn't Case Keenum going to start for the Redskins too in the beginning?
No. It's dude. The owner drafted him. They're going to start him Week 1 against the Eagles on the road, which is a crazy thing to do.
Isn't that why you start Case Keenum?
I hope you start Case Keenum. I don't know. Honestly, I like our chances either way, but
we have spent a lot of time.
I don't want to tip my Week 1 picks around.
here would be my take. You let Case Keenum do the at Eagles, home against the Cowboys, home against the Bears, and you bring Haskins in as the revenge spot against the hometown team, New York Giants, on the road week 4.
Okay. Ryan, before we go, just a reminder, make sure you check us out on YouTube, youtube.com/sports gambling podcast. I saw that you recently subscribed to the channel, Ryan.
I did.
Check that
It's
out.
been great.
Also doing a ton of, Colby and myself have been posting a ton of fun videos counting down the 100 days to football, both college and pro. Just had a sweet Phil Simms video on there. Just a ton of like old school NFL and college clips. Instagram, Sports Gambling Podcast. And as always, make sure you rate, review, and subscribe on iTunes. We got a new review, Ryan. This is a pretty fun one. It comes from a guy called Ginger Phil 205. He reviewed us on the 4th of July. Unmissable is the title of the review.
Whoa.
A proud Englishman living in Boston, writing on the 4th of July. England has given America so much over the years. Well, first off the country, but we didn't. You didn't really give it to us. We fucking took it from you punks. Given so
Shout
much
out
over
to
the
France.
years. Film, internet, language, work in progress. Beatles, Oasis, Charlie Chaplin, Princess Diana, manners, parentheses, work in progress. Soccer, I'll use the right name at least. Cricket, Houston Texans. Need I go on? I don't know what the Texans. I'll have to look into that. But finally, after listening to this podcast, we are even. Love the show, subjects, insights, and most of all the football talk. Most excitingly, I've less than 2 months to wait to figure it out. Does Mr. Green really know anything about college football? Any response will reference $200,000 in DraftKings, no doubt. That you guilty as charged, Ginger Phil. I did win $200,000 on DraftKings, and I know enough about college football to win some money, and that's all that matters.
I know for a fact he has the Phil Steele preview guide. So
I left my job to pursue college football research. So you're welcome, listeners, and make sure you tune in for the Sports Gambling Podcast. I'm Sean, stacking the money green, and he is Ryan.
Congratulations, Sean.
Kramer. Let it ride.